Cheers, Aaron. First thing to say is thank you to you for putting this out. It's always amazing to me that anyone wants to, to kind of publish my work. So thank you so much. Thank you to Charlie Bayliss and Jaden DeWald for the wonderful blurbs, and to Eugene Villagos, who's possibly one of the strangest but wonderful poets who I've ever corresponded with. Also, huge congratulations to Lucy, Liam, Geeta, Ella, Andrea and Caleb for absolutely fantastic work and wonderful readings. It's a pleasure to be reading kind of alongside all of you, and thanks to all of you as well for sticking around as well. So what is Obligate Carnivore? So, well, it's a deconstruction of masculinity, I guess, and it's a deliberate subversion of how we're supposed to have relationships, how we see work, how we're supposed to parent, how we see our bodies, and how we are not supposed to show emotion and all of those complex things. And I guess that this is really an attempt to be vulnerable and show that by confronting these things that there can be discussion and empowerment, and I think that's a real positive. So anyway, let's get into the poems. So this first one is called Illuminated Refuge. The night is self-absorption, a wing gnawed open and quietly alive. 18th of the 8th, 2013. The morning she arrived. Through blackberry season, swans in winter. We reddened fingertips, enjoyed slow swimming. Within her, I hold these pieces of myself, yet this thoughtlessness gathers under parasitic skies. Our birthdays become birthdays, as she sleeps. An arm around my neck, a louse upon my face. This connection to the earth of time and space, acerbic in the air. My daughter is all of me, but not mine. For if I could live here completely in the wholeness of summer, as a good father, a good man, then I would wrap myself in a doorway, this illuminated refuge of a fleeting halfway house. This next poem is called New Year's Day and is really about confronting change. Increasing shades of morning swilled in glass, pinprick wounds, pewter hollows, the crescent of silver thumbnails pushed through skin and torn, falling towards the mantle of the body. A spinning globe cracks its bones into thirsty soil to sprout, grow arms and legs in silence, all tangled up and knotted in our thorn-filled rooms. From a distance, an orange vice grip in the jaws of a dog fills the air with pith. Citrus misted on the fingertips of an outstretched hand glisters with its juice and smacks across lips. A tang to draw out the spit of dawn, a promise to the world. As we float towards its heavy moon, our limp necks cradled, our two heavy heads. The first time I didn't disappear. Grief is just winter thickening. Oatmeal around a spoon stirred too long and aching in the hand. The way paper from December gifts wilt upon the floor, curling upwards, a hardened skin, a yellow heel peering through a sock, 3 chairs pulled closely together and only the screech of legs to halt silence. The walls he lived in plastered over. Hidden gold, a smirk, a glint in the eye. The watching ghosts lurking in part like flags flown at half-mast. And the kitchen, the heart of the home, overcooked. In summer, blackened with thunderflies, blackened from the wood at Yuletide, blackened from the lies pushed into bags and stuffed, only to be found after death had passed, laughing in front of our faces as we tried to tell good tales. Every time I sat and thought that I had loved, I disappeared. The voice picked out, stamped upon, placed amongst the turquoise chocolate of the nest eggs fallen from the tree. And then the body, transmuted, with every church bell and open mouth shrieking. Through the glass, we'd see the swallows start to ready. The summer bent around a pole, the sourness of Swiss chard. Ants missing the fire of sun, and the grass wept with the choice of those able to swill it out and around, to spit saliva in an arc. I am stolen every time my back bends the fibres of this wicker seat. Until today. Now there is an island and filigree and chrome. A sign that he is gone. South maybe, to sit brining in the water butts. To stand against the window, to press his face. A shadow banished, left alone. Submission. The crow in my lap is anti-particular. The head in a box perpendicular to mine. And the afternoon, an airless cloche, promises everything but necessary flight, promises no answers except procedural routes that lead to Corvid. Warmth, a diminished return for handcuffs. To know roughly that this is all there is. Black feathers and pearlescent tip. This is a slightly more surreal one. This is called Fearless Reflection Toolkit. How vampires are mistaken by the light. A tree, split open and ringless, afraid of other trees. A parentless moon spinning as a shield. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Black magic, sleight of hand. Shark attacks, blood leaching into coral reefs. How to shapeshift into a bear, a lion, a lamb. An outcast thrown into wild hawthorns to wage war on the body through ritual indifference. Zero hauntings. An interdimensional nothingness. Murder guilt as a fraudulent transaction. Bad actors enjoying the iron richness of organ meat. The mannerisms of my father as a cloak embodied. Defeated by my mother's teeth, sinking in right up to the hilt. A family of Ming vases, counterfeit, cracked, unable to pick up steel, put it down again, grow. The beauty of the world or accusations of lack of vision. The things necessary for a happy life. Reckless drivers, the lilt of bruised fists. Career suicide, self-persuaded. The potential for poor fathering, for choking on lint, late heartbeats, a seen sparrowhawk but not flamingo. The cruel dismemberment of the young, and me without real use. a low-lit postcard enslaved and forgotten in the noose of a dead town. Submission as the eternal bent nail. Nighttime escapes into preventable coffins. Publicly unsolvable maths equations. And this is a poem about comfort eating and the pressure that men feel, I think, to look a certain way, but also, you know, knowing that this is something that men do and is kind of, you know, and it's accepted, and it's something underlying that isn't talked about as much as it should. And this is Quiet Boys Clean Their Plates. A corpse flower unfurls in retrospect, scented with the waft of rotten years, all fattened and familiar. A linearity, but repeatable. Sick of these man shapes carrying maggoty loads around maggoty waists. We eat when there's dread, when ordinary things are trussed up like Saturday liver mistrusted. My mother is dead to me and still able to force down forkfuls of fat into my esophagus. I eat when I'm full, at night and hidden, when I finger my paunch, folding bread like a gag, like all good boys should. So this poem is about my experience as a survivor of sexual assault, as the only male person in a court hearing about sexual assault, and this is called plea bargaining. Number one. Maybe they thought I was a girl, the judiciary. Maybe he did. The rest were girls. Do the girls still think they're girls? There'll be women now. I've never met any of them. I know I'm not a boy or a man, I think, after this. Number two. 400 crooked pines, the kind with bent trunks found in West Pomerania, that on rare occasion the desert makes blood by thickening in the rain, pours it from a gaping jug neck to redden the family patch. Number three. Why lenticular clouds, oddly positioned, look like throbbing, that the underbelly of Mammatus laments. The sacrifice of a sky falling through the whole of itself onto thin penitente. Number four. How to travel the face of our closest star, observed telescopically as dust on a lens, a scrap on a breadboard, latched onto hope as tentatively as a pinhead, silhouetted, dressed as Venus, moving quietly in transition. This is a poem called How to Fall with Grace. An apricot, the stone fruit swelling in our throats, black as organs, a dull window, the throb of missing teeth, of shapes, the beetle backs of cities all hollowed out, its twilight apples like us alone, waspish on an orchard floor, the grass a cushion, a pillow to swallow silence like a nail, sunk into, swallowed by the ground with the grace of a bone, a record of things once alive, that can live again in time. I think this is the last one. And this is a poem about basically coming out of the other side of trauma and trying to leave it behind, and what a difficult process that can be. And this is a poem called Rebirth. A horse corpse folded at the bottom of the rocks spreads colour and warmth. The pillow grey sky scratches its scalp across crowns, the spears of treetop pines. Under the weight of ice, he belly crawls back to his god. A diamante bracelet, bent clasp and scattered. Dirty sheets, stubborn cracked slats. Ribs slid between besides the bloat of unspeakable things pushed out. To expel the last breaths of life under cloth. A mountain palomino closing its jaws around that to be born again, and after the passing of constellations, the frost unclenches its fist. To the rise of breath. To the sound of splitting spines. Emergent fingers, then arms, a face, nakedness shaded white, and innocence resting powder-like on the ground. And somehow the world is different. Not death or the carcass of equus slipped from hidden edges, but goosegander skin. The exquisite lightness of feet rolling in the snow. Something lost then. Something trapped within the hazelnut of its dried, open eyes. Thank you very much, everyone.